Let's transition to the emotional well-being of our students. Colorado administers a Healthy Kids survey that some people think asks highly inappropriate age-level questions, and many school districts are investing in social-emotional specialists and curriculum, which some people say are indoctrinating our children. Right here in Jeffco, many schools are using a social-emotional assessment, which makes many parents nervous. And we have already spoken about the state of emergency declared by Children's Hospital because of the skyrocketing emotional needs of our children. So Danny, we'll start with you. And how would you, as Lieutenant Governor, suggest schools address the emotional hardships our students have experienced?
So I think first and foremost, we have to return our students to the parents. I learned about my culture. I learned about who I was from my parents. School didn't teach me that. The school taught me how to read, how to write, and every once in a while how to get along with others, right? I was a hard kid. And that's what our schools should do. And I would be open to the schools doing additional things if they were doing the basic things well. But they're not doing the basic things well. And there's a capacity issue because there's only so much capacity in a day. And if you spend your day teaching social issues, then you're not teaching our kids how to read and write. We're making our kids victims. So I say let's return to the basics. And then if parents want their kids to learn things that are outside the basics, fine. Give them internet classes. You can do it at home with your parents, but you don't get credit for it. You don't get graded for it. The emotional well-being of our kids is important. And I like to tell people, I didn't figure out this thing called life until I was 30. So to take a child and start confusing a child about who they are is creating that emotional damage that they can't undo. And that's why our kids are in crisis. So first and foremost, we have to stop it. Let our kids be kids. Let them grow up. Let them figure out for themselves what they want to do. Let them talk to their parents about it. That's what we need to do. And then let's do the basics first. And that's what I would do as Lieutenant Governor, is make sure that our schools are doing the basic first and that parents have a role in making sure that kids understand their social well-being.
Thanks. So guys, this is actually why I'm sitting here, why I'm running. Because my kids were in school up at Superior Elementary in Boulder Valley School District. My twins came home from first grade, and my Holly was in third or fourth grade, and asked me what a sex change operation was. And I haven't told this story often, and the reporters, if they want to reach her, they can Google and figure out what happened. It's been written about in the Federalist, Washington Examiner, etc. And believe me, this is not anti-trans, it's not anti-LGBTQ. I have dear friends that are both. This is about inappropriate things happening in the classroom, discussions happening in the classroom that belong to parents. Parents get to decide when we talk to our kids about sex. Parents get to decide, about values and what happens with those discussions. And honestly, the most disturbing part of that whole thing that happened was learning that the program that teachers went through to teach this stuff in class had taught them how to deal with problematic parents. Who do you think the problematic parents were? So 30 of us parents went to the principal and said, why didn't you let us opt out of this stuff? Like, it's an anti-bullying program. I said, well, we have good anti-bullying practices, and of course we don't support any bullying, but why didn't you tell us this? Well, you can't opt out of this. It's so embedded in the curriculum. It's everywhere. And I thought, oh my goodness. So all of us families got together and decided to try and start a charter school right in Jared Polis's backyard in Superior, where he lives in Boulder, and his kids go to a private school. And there weren't a lot of options, there still aren't, in Boulder for charter schools. All of them have huge waiting lists. So we got together, tried to open an Ascent Classical. We got 700 kids signed up over 18 months, went to the board, and we got turned down. We didn't just get turned down, we got shouted out of town, because they didn't want our kind there as problematic parents, right? And that's why we ended up moving our kids and moving out of Boulder Valley into Douglas County. And my kids now are in a place where they're thriving because I was able to move to a different zip code. I was able to have a choice about where they went to school. I want every parent in Colorado to be able to do that same thing. It's not fair to our kids to lock them in because of where they're born or the school that they're assigned. That goes back to that first conversation we had. Nothing is more important than choice, transparency, and competition to fix our schools.